Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Excited to dive into this whiskey today because today we are hitting the Stagg, no longer Junior, Stagg 22B. So if you don't follow the whole Stagg business, this is a Buffalo Trace product. This uses Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1, and traditionally these are batches, and it's usually the Stagg Junior. You've probably seen this iconic bottle before. These are non-age stated. They're very high in proof, usually 128 to 132 is sort of in that range. And traditionally these batches aren't actually clearly labeled on the bottle either. So you have to sort of do your homework. You look up the proof, and then you look up what batch, matches the proof, and then that's how you know what you got, unless whoever sold it to you let you know ahead of time. Well, a lot of things have changed. So they went from batches like 18 and 19, and then it went to 22. And now the batch is actually on the label. It'll tell you what batch you've got along with the proof point. They also dropped the name Junior off of the bottle, so now it's just Stagg instead of Stagg Junior. And this is not to be confused with George T. Stagg, a different bottle entirely. So a lot has changed, and we're going to see if this continues to live up to its name. Now, I know the reception on 18 and 19 was not as good as some of the previous batches, and then we had the that jump from that 18-19 up to 22A and 22B. What I have today is a sample of 22B. 22A, in comparison to this, I'm told, is, according to some of the reviews that are out there, 22A was apparently, it tasted maybe a little bit younger, but it was brighter and more fruity, and didn't have a lot of those like heavy barrel char notes and things like that. And B is more, according to the reviews, delivery on the traditional Stagg flavors, so this is more in line with what people expected. I think 22A got really good reviews, but it was definitely sort of a different flavor profile than people were used to with Stagg. And 22B was more of like an excellent delivery on what you came to already expect from the Stagg Junior lineup. But again, not Stagg Junior, just Stagg now. But we're about to find out for ourselves. So here we go. Thank you, Matt, for hooking me up with a sample of your Stagg that you found. Let's talk price. I think the MSRP, technically, for Stagg is, I'm just going to call it Stagg now, because now that's what it is. So I'm not going to say Stagg Junior. But MSRP is usually around $50. But you're not going to find a bottle for $50. That's sort of the nature of the game. You will find bottles, maybe, for 100, most likely 150, sometimes 200. If you're on the secondary market on like websites, they will try to milk you for all you're worth, and they will probably charge you sometimes around $300, which is ridiculous. By all accounts, this is not worth that. It is at that price point completely blown away by other things in that price point family. But if you are close to the, like, in between the 100-150 range, by all accounts, this is a stellar product, even at that price point, even though MSRP is around 50. Rolling it around in that glass. Now, I will note that this is 130 proof, and it does look like it is fairly thick and viscous, leaving a nice coating on the glass as I roll it around. The color here is nice and dark, too. That barrel influence is visibly noticeable. Let's nose it. Woo! It'll hit you with that alcohol right up front. It smells hot. On the nose, I'm getting molasses. Dark cherry, like black cherries. Maybe even a little bit of like a fig, that rich sweetness. Yeah. Molasses and black cherries for sure. And some charred wood. Alright, the nose on that's beautiful. Very appealing nose. I don't know if you can see all those, look how thick those runs are coming down the side of the glass. Actual like droplets just running down the glass. So thick. She thick. Let's taste it. Although I really am enjoying just sitting here smelling this. Cheers. Okay, she's hot. She drinks hot. I mean, every single proof point on that you could taste. Yeah, she drinks pretty hot. but a lot of those rich molassesy, just, you can almost feel the thickness in your mouth, that syrupy, oozy sort of a rich sweetness. Maybe even like a note of like a plum in there too, and some hot oak on that finish. And then the heat just tapers off real slow like on the finish, and just leaves behind that dark fruit note, almost like a, that black cherry note with a little bit of that oak, and the heat just sort of slowly tapers off over time, but it clings in there for a while. Oh man, I was going in for sip number 2, and I just got hit with that cherry nose really coming to life the more this opens up and the more that it sits. And that rich fig, man, that's got a great nose to it. I'm not gonna lie, that's a very good nose. Yeah, you just get shellapped over the head with that hot oak on that sip. And then it's like the palate kind of blooms, it comes to life, it opens up a bit as it sits there, transitioning into the finish, and that heat tapers off, and it just leaves you with these dark cherries, fig, plum, and that oak. That tannic oak just kind of settles in. Now, I will come out and be transparent. I find a lot of Buffalo Trace products to be overrated. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I have a lot of Buffalo Trace products. Some Blanton's, I got some Weller, I got some Eagle Rare. I mean, I keep Blanton's on the shelf, but I don't drink it. It's mainly there because people come over and they're like, oh, you like whiskey? There's always that, do you have Blanton's? Do you have Eagle Rare? Do you have any Weller? And I'm always like, yeah, I've got it, but I don't really drink it because I just, with the exception of Eagle Rare, I think most of them are just kind of all right and not worth the secondary prices that you have to pay for them. So I'm not like a Buffalo Trace junkie, you know what I mean? It's not that I think they're bad. I just think that the hype and the chase around those products seems a little bit unwarranted when there are other bottles that are every bit as good as they are. But Buffalo Trace does have some outstanding products, for sure. This is really freaking good. This is exceptionally good whiskey. The more it opens up too, the more of those fruit notes I get. It's lovely. So, we got to give this thing a score per my scale. So this is Stagg 22B, 130 proof. It's really good. I think I'm going to land right at that threshold. I'm going to call that an 8.9. I'm going to call that an 8.9. Especially, one of the things you have to consider is the price point. Is it an 8.9 at $200? Maybe not. Is it an 8.9 at $100? Yes. Yes, I do think that. So it really depends on how much coin you're willing to drop on one of these bottles and how much effort you're willing to put in to acquiring one, and if you're willing to use connections and networking to get your hands on a bottle, or if you're entering a giveaway, a draft, something like that, like a lottery style. So what are you willing to go through in order to get one of these bottles? That certainly plays a factor in how good it is. That investment cost isn't something you can just negate. But assuming that we are being reasonable here about how much effort you're putting in, and I'm just assuming it's somewhere around the average amount of effort and money that you're going to have to put in to get one of these bottles, I think at that level of investment, 8.9. That is at the top end of that fantastic range, bordering into the phenomenal. This is one of the better pours I've had lately. In Michigan, I cannot get these bottles. They don't come up here. It's that simple. They have not been up here in years. Now, different bourbon bars and whiskey bars will sometimes sell you a pour, but finding a full bottle on a shelf is just not something that happens realistically here. And so I think the last one that I paid for a pour of was, it wasn't 18 and 19. I skipped on those. I think it might have been like the 12 and 13, like that area. So it's been a while for me, I will admit, but that's really freaking good. I like that a lot. Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing that with me. Hey, I'm looking forward to our virtual tasting. My sample bottles come in tomorrow. I'll pack them up and I'll get those things shipped out as quickly as I possibly can. But I want to appreciate each and every one of you who opted into that. I think there's 11 of us total. So we're going to sit down together on Discord and our Patreon lounge and share some notes, taste these bottles together, and kind of see what we think. But I'm really looking forward to that and the camaraderie. But cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age. And we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.